is copyrighted by PFSmedia.com. The views and opinions expressed are those of the speaker presented and not necessarily those of Brickwork Financial Services. It is intended for training purposes only and may not be distributed to the public.
Thank you. Good morning. Every time I hear Gina, she keeps getting better, and I sincerely mean that. I'm not trying to build up brownie points. I figure if I haven't built them up by now, there's no hope anyway. And but you know, when she started out, when she started out, and she was telling the story about I've never ever, prospected in front of her. You might be sitting there and say, well, I mean, could that guy really be as introverted as she's talking about? I mean, how could he build such a big business and be the way she's describing him? And I just want you to know, because most of us don't know each other. Paulie and I know each other well, and Michael, and there's a number of other people in this room. But that is the absolute truth. And it goes back, because I know some of you are like me. And that's why I'm bringing this up before I get into the heart of what we're going to talk about this morning. Some of you have the challenge that I have. And the challenge is I am not very comfortable in new environments. Once I become part of an environment like Gina talked about, I get around the PFS environment and everything like that, I'm super comfortable. And I will talk to anybody all the time, etc. But getting acclimated to a new environment, that's not me, because I don't have the Jimmy Meyer personality. Jimmy could walk into a strange environment, a strange party, a strange room, and within 30 minutes he is the party. Look, you understand? I mean, that's Jimmy. That's not me. As a matter of fact, I joined a country club 3 years ago, and over the last 2 years, I really have not made it my business to really build relationships. And 2 months ago, and Jimmy knows this because we talk all the time, I just made a decision that I'm going to get to know the guys, and it's very uncomfortable for me. And in the last 2 months, I have definitely built more relationships with more guys in 2 months than I have in my last 3 years there, because, and here's the principle I was talking about yesterday, it just comes down to what? A decision. Okay? In other words, if you want it bad enough, what did Safford say? You'll find a way to get it. If you want to win in this business bad enough, you'll find a way to get it. Golf is something I keep getting more and more and more into, and I heard Jimmy loud and clear when he was talking about, well, he ain't going to build a base shop and beat me and all that other stuff. So, I have to take that as a challenge. And now I'm really, really comfortable. I'll walk into the grill room and there'll be 40 guys there, and I know, probably 25 of them, and I'm very, very comfortable. Well, years ago when I started in Primerica, I had no problem in my warm market, because why? I knew them. So I attacked my warm market, but it was very uncomfortable to call referrals. Incredibly uncomfortable to call referrals. Incredibly uncomfortable if I was working with a guy like Paul, and Paul had 5 people that he needed me to contact for him. Very uncomfortable to Friendship Farm. Yet I told you I Friendship Farmed how many people? 3 to 5 a day, right? Because you only win when you drive yourself to do the uncomfortable. I guarantee you, if all you do is things that are comfortable to you, you probably have made very little money over the last 6 months. And your team's probably very small right now. If you are living in your comfort zone, you're not growing. So what I did was I forced myself to talk to people. I couldn't do it with Gina there. She'd set up and go away, and then boom, I'd nail them. I know it's just, I can do it, because if somebody else is there, I feel like I'm being analyzed, or I feel like I'm being, and everything like that. So the bottom line is, if I can win here, you can win here. You just gotta do what I did, and that is push yourself to do everything that is super uncomfortable to you. And if you push yourself to do so, and the only way to push yourself to do everything that's super uncomfortable to you is to what? It goes back to the first thing we talked about yesterday. You gotta have goals. You gotta know what you want. You got to know what you want. And if you know what you want, then nothing's going to get in your way. Because no matter how uncomfortable you are, you'll always ask yourself the question, what's more important to me? Avoiding the uncomfort, or not getting that dream home, or not being worth $1 million, or not having the sports car. And it was always, the sports car was more important than the uncomfortableness. And the dream home was more important than the uncomfortableness. And the financial independence was more important than the uncomfortableness. So if you have that in front of your face all the time, and you're doing an advertising campaign on yourself, you will reach down deep and make yourself do what you hate to do. Am I making sense to you? Okay. Now, some of you were at the meeting in South Florida where Jimmy asked me to talk about getting people off to a fast start. And I'm going to cover this topic with you because it's very, very important. A lot of people who recruit don't grow because all they do is recruit. And there's a major, major difference between being a recruiter and a builder. And if you're going to get big, you got to become a builder. And listen, common sense tells you got to recruit. Business owners have people in their business. If you want to do a little business, have a few people. If you want to do a lot of business, have a lot of people. I mean, that doesn't take a lot of brains, right? I got a friend who's in the construction business, and he's extremely talented, and he does great work, and he has one helper, and he scratches out a living. I have another friend who's in the construction business, and he's really good at what he does, but he has 300 employees, and he's a multi-millionaire. You'll never get paid the big money for work you do. You'll get paid the big money for work that you cause others to do. In any business. In any business. So whoever builds the biggest army in Primerica is going to win. And they're going to make the most money, right or wrong? But the key word that I just used was whoever builds the biggest army. Obviously, you got to recruit them first, but just because you're recruiting doesn't mean you're building anything. So we are not in the IBA collection business. And a lot of people are. And I don't want you to be in the IBA collection business. I want you to be in the building business. You've got to get people off to a fast start. So what you have to do is you have to find, for lack of a better word, a system or a format that works for you. Of something you could do every single time when you bring somebody into the business. So this is what I'm about to share with you is what I've done every single time since 1984. This is how I get people started. It is very, very rare, and make sure you listen real carefully to what I share with you, because sometimes we have selective hearing and you might not hear the right thing. It's very, very rare that I take somebody's IBA after an opportunity meeting. And if you're not listening carefully, you're going to say, I was at a meeting and Jim Penn said he doesn't take IBAs at op meetings. Did I say that? I didn't say that. I said it's very, very rare that I take an IBA at an opportunity meeting. I will do it, Mark, if they're smoking hot. If Mark comes out of the meeting and I say, hey, what do you like most about what you saw tonight? I like everything about what I saw tonight. I've been thinking about being in my own business for a long time. I know a couple of the principles that your company talked about, but I really didn't grasp it the way that it was explained tonight. Now I really, really get it. I can feel good about what your company does. I've been looking for something. I have a family. I have responsibilities. I can't burn my bridges. I love the fact that you give people an opportunity to make a transition. And you could just tell the guy's got a clear head. He's got a head on his shoulders. He gets it. And he's like, what do I got to do to move forward? And I'll give him an IBA. But if he just comes out positive, I don't give him an IBA. Positive isn't good enough for me. He's got to really be smoking hot. Kind of like, last night when I told you the way I came out, I was more than smoking hot. Okay. I was crazed. Okay. So if they're positive, I really liked what I saw. It makes a lot of sense. Do you have an interest in earning a part-time income? Well, yeah, I do have an interest in earning a part-time income. And then what I'll do is I'll say, then what I'd like to do is set a time to get together with you, and I can show you how to move forward. And that's basically the terminology that I use. I'll show you how to move forward. I'd like to set a time, get together, and I'll show you how to move forward. So the majority of people that come out of an opportunity meeting, I'm setting a time within 24 to 72 hours to get together with them and their partner. If they're married, I'm getting together with their partner. Why do you get together with their partner, Jim? Because my time is valuable to me, Eddie. I invest time. I don't use time. And I know if I sit with somebody without their partner, the odds are it's gonna go great. It's gonna go great. Our company's great. I'm passionate about what it is that we do. And I understand at the end of the day what people are really buying is what? Us, right? So if you're passionate about what you do, they're already positive because they sat in an opportunity meeting. You sit down, you show them how to move forward and get started. You're going to walk away after that hour and a half session that you had together or 2-hour session that you had together, and it went really, really great. And trying to pull realistic numbers out of my head, I will say 7 out of 10 times their partner's going to squash everything. And I just wasted an hour and a half of my time. And I'm not in the business of wasting time. So to avoid, because listen, if the who has more leverage on that agent? You or their spouse? The spouse. That spouse sleeps in the same bed with them. You have no leverage. They have all the leverage. Okay? So if they're not like, honey, this sounds great. I feel good about that guy, Jim Penn. I feel great about that company. Let's do it. If you don't have that going on, you know, and they're negative, then they're just going to squash everything that you put together. Because in most families, the spouse absolutely wears the pants. That's a fact. So I'm going to get together with them within 24 to 72 hours. I'm not going to tell them I'd like to get together with you within 24 to 72 hours. But I know on my Wednesday night opportunity means that I want to get together with my guests Thursday or Friday. That's in my head. So I'm going to say I'd like to set a time to get together with you and show you how to move forward, Paul. Would tomorrow evening work or would Friday be better? That's called a what? Alternative choice closing question, right? If I have somebody come down on Saturday, I'd say, could we get together tomorrow, Billy, or would Monday work better? Monday would work better. And I'm going to say, I would need to know that Kelly's going to be there. Is she going to be there? And a lot of people are going to tell you, why does she need to be there? Right? Raise your hand if that's ever happened to you. And you can't flinch. You got to be really honest. And you just got to say, because I'm sharing a business with you. This is not a job. If this was a job, it really wouldn't matter whether or not Kelly felt good about what you were doing or she didn't feel good about what it is that you're doing. You know, if you just said, I got a new job and here's the starting salary and, I see a lot of potential in it. Well, then, that's the way it is. But this is not a job. This is a business. And in business, you get paid tomorrow for what you do today. And you're going to have to invest time away from the family. And I need to know that she understands that it's a worthwhile investment of your time and you're not getting involved in some type of fly-by-night opportunity and you're not taking time away from the home and time away from the kids for just meaningless results. She needs to understand what we're all about, what the big picture is, what the potential is, and what it'll take to make this become a reality. And to be quite frank with you, I would not be willing to invest my time into teaching you our business unless I know that she is with you and she's supportive. She doesn't have to get involved in the business, although I will tell you it would benefit you tremendously, but she absolutely has to be supportive. And you don't have the ability, and I don't mean this in a condescending way, but you don't have the ability to explain the business to her like I could explain it to her because you just saw it for the first time. So in order for me to even have a willingness to bring you into our company and work with you, I need to spend time with the both of you. Can we make that happen? And that's just the way it is. And by the way, and if the person's not willing to do it, then I'll revert back to what Jimmy talked about, and that is I'll just challenge to bring some people back on Saturday morning. That's it. If I can't get together with their spouse, there's no way I'm taking 2 hours of my time to get together just with him. Now, what if Billy comes up to me and he says, well, I want to be honest, things are on the fritz right now. Things are a little shaky in our relationship. And, he lets me know there's some challenges at home. That's a different story. Then I'd get together with the guy. You follow what I'm saying? But if he doesn't lead me to believe that, then there's absolutely no way I'm getting together with him. Now, this is hard for most people to do. You know why? And I don't mean this bad, but here's the facts. It's because you play small numbers and every single person means so much to you that you bend the rules. It's like everybody knows if you show up to a house to do a kitchen table appointment and the spouse is not there, you reset the appointment, right? You know that, right? But most people don't. Most people do the appointment because it's probably the only one they have that week. Or it's one out of two that they have that week. So they bend the rules. You bend the rules, you're going to get burnt. There's certain things that work and certain things that don't work. What do you do with single people, Jim? I get together with them within 24 to 72 hours. Preferably during the day and at my office. Doesn't necessarily have to be at your office, but I try to get together with them during the day. Why do I try to get together with them during the day? Because I'm money conscious. And I need to be out across the kitchen table at night in a 5-point market making money. So I want to get together with single people during the day. You have to be money conscious. Napoleon Hill says, listen, there's no gray area. You're either money conscious or poverty conscious. That's it. Okay? And if you're willing to get together, well, first of all, when I came in, nobody even got together with me. I told you that story last night, right? Now, I don't believe that that's what you should do. Get together with them during the day. And most people will tell you, I work during the day. And without flinching, you have to say, I understand. Can you get off early? Could we meet around 3 o'clock in the afternoon? Could you take a long lunch? Hey, if they were going on a job interview for IBM, would they get out early to go on that job interview? Would they take a long lunch? They'd probably take the day off, right? Okay. What do people buy? They buy you. They buy you. And by the way, am I talking like a tough butt to them? No, I'm being very polite. I believe you should always convey professionalism, always be very, very polite. But listen, you're the quarterback. You're not the receiver. You control everything. You're bringing them into your business. They're not bringing you into their business. You're the one that's offering them the opportunity. You're the one. But never, ever, ever. See, I'm telling you a lot of things here. See, you could tell anybody anything because it's not what you say. It's what? It's how you say it. That's why you want to master your people skills. It's all in how you, well, what if the person legitimately cannot get together with you during the day, Jim? They've only been at their job for the last 2 years and it would really put them in a bad position. They haven't built up any seniority and everything like that. Would you get together with them at night? Yeah. If I felt great about them. If I felt great about them. And I'd get together with them either really, really early in the evening before my appointments or what? After my appointments. Normally, I allot 2 hours to get together with people in my schedule. Now, I don't tell Paul that we're going to get together for 2 hours, but in my mind, I'm going to allot 2 hours. You know as well as I do, a lot of people will allot 20 minutes because they figure I could get the IBA in 10, BS for another 10, and then go on to my next appointment. And you walk away, and yes, you got an IBA. But does that mean you're growing? That doesn't mean you're growing. So I'm getting together with them to get them started. You have to look at every person that comes into your business as what? A future RVP until they prove otherwise. You got to look at every person that comes into your business as somebody that you're going to be in business with for the next 20 to 30 years. I don't look at them as an IBA. I look at them as a business partner. I look at them as a future RVP, a 6-figure income. As you look at them is how you would treat them, right? So if I really look at them that way, what am I going to accomplish in 15 minutes or 20 minutes? Nothing. So I allot 2 hours. Do I want to take 2 hours? No. I don't want to take 2 hours. I think you absolutely need a solid hour, 15 minutes to get someone off to a fast start. But you know how a lot of people are BSers. You get to someone's house and they spend the first 20 minutes showing you the addition that they just did or the bathroom they just refinished. Sometimes you get to somebody's house, you don't even get into the conversation for 20 minutes. So if you allotted an hour, now you got 40 minutes left, right? So I'm allotting 2 hours in my schedule. I'm shooting to get done a lot sooner, but I'm allotting 2 hours. But what if I don't have anything else that evening? Am I still allotting 2 hours? Absolutely, because there's such a thing as it's called overstaying your welcome. When you leave the house, Kelly should not be saying to Bill, thank God he's leaving. I thought he'd never shut up. He didn't get my hint when I walked out of the room for 10 minutes, Billy. I threw a couple yawns in there. Working with this guy is going to be brutal. Now, I know a lot of you laugh. Some of you really do that. You overstay your welcome. This is all about winning friends and influencing people. We're in the people business, not the mutual fund business, the people business. And if you win people, you'll do a lot of mutual funds and you'll do a lot of insurance, but people have to like you. They're not going to like you if they feel like they can't get you out of their house. Do you understand that? They have to use your common sense. Pay attention to their body language. Body language is 58% of communication. Their body language will tell you whether or not they've had enough. And if you're going to be in business with them for the next 20 years, do you have to do everything that night anyway? No. You'd like to, but you don't have to. Okay. Now you're going to build rapport, so I'm going to go over Billy and Kelly's house. I'm going to build rapport with them, and I'm going to find out their why. I'm going to find out their emotional goals. How am I going to find out their emotional goals? Well, as it says right here, I'd say, obviously you liked what you saw at my office last night, or we wouldn't be back together right now. Tell me, what would you like to accomplish working with our company on a part-time basis? So I come into the house. I never met Kelly before. Now, would it be a good idea to just get the spouse in a meeting with the husband, or vice versa? If I brought the spouse, would it be a good idea to get the husband in there? And then I could save myself a lot of aggravation, right? But a lot of people don't get the spouse there. So when Billy introduced me to his wife, I've got to really read her. Jim, I'd like to introduce you to my wife. Hi, nice to meet you. We go through the pleasantries. We work our way to the kitchen table or the dining room table. So tell me, what was it that Billy told you about what he saw at our office the other night? And now I am shutting my mouth and I'm listening carefully. Okay? Because in those next 60 seconds, I could pick up whether she's for it or she's not for it. Right? Right or wrong? Okay? And you better pick it up. You better pick it up. Your conversation is not with the person who came down. Your conversation is with the couple. And if the partner's not positive and you ignore it, she's like, well, Billy didn't tell me much, but Billy's done a lot of things over the last 10 years. And, he just said he's excited. Oh, so Billy, tell me, obviously you liked what you saw at my office the other night. We're going to be back together right now. Tell me, what would you like to accomplish working with my company on a part-time basis? That's stupidity. I just totally bypassed and shelved how she feels. Okay? So now, she didn't like the idea that he's thinking about something. Now she doesn't like me either, right? And it all comes down to whether or not she likes me. When I leave the house, she better like me. Because if she doesn't like me, Billy's not doing the business. End of story. So if she says, Billy came back excited, but this is just another one of those things, he's come back excited about a lot of things over the last 10 years. I'd be more than happy to take you downstairs and show you all the things that Billy's done over the last 10 years. I'd say, well, one of the things I can assure you is this absolutely would not be a waste of Billy's time. Okay? I value my time. I value your time, and I could understand that there's no way you would want Billy to do something unless it was going to be worthwhile and beneficial to the family and obviously honest and ethical, right? And she'd say, right. I'd say, you know what? Let me show you what Billy saw last night. And I'd skip all the things I'm about to show you and go right into selling her on the company and what we do. Because if she's not sold on the company and what we do, all the things I'm about to share with you are meaningless, right? You all with that? So what do you got to do? You got to read the body language of the spouse. You got to read the tonality of the spouse. And you've got to address your entire conversation to their wavelength. See, when we communicate with people, people are receiving on channel A. So if they're receiving on channel A, you better be broadcasting on channel A. If you totally bypass and shelve their reaction and you just broadcast on channel B, then all you're doing is turning people off, getting them in a position where they can't wait till you leave their house, and you are totally wasting their time. You're totally wasting your time. To be a great communicator, you got to figure out what people are thinking and then broadcast on that channel. You need to become a product of their environment before they can become a product of your environment. You must. You must. So now let's say, what was it that Billy told you about? Oh man, I'll tell you, Billy was excited. It really sounds intriguing. It sounds like your company really provides, great value to people. I don't have an understanding yet, but, we're looking for something, and we've talked about doing something together. Now I know I've got a spouse that's on the same page as the other spouse, right? Now I can ask Billy what he'd like to accomplish part-time. And once you find out what it is that they'd like to accomplish, and by the way, do you care what it is? You don't care if all they'd like to accomplish is $500 a month, right? Once you find out whatever it is they'd like to accomplish, then you sell them on the fact that they could achieve it. You look them dead in the eye. If you want to be a great communicator, you must look people in the eye. People don't trust people that don't look them in the eye. You look them dead in the eye and you let them know. If he says, we'd love to be in business together. We can't do that right now. Between her income and my income, we're making $80,000 a year and there's no way that we could burn our bridges. But we've talked about, someday running our own show, being in our own business. And this looks like a way where we could possibly make that transition and have what it is that we're looking for. And I'm going to look them in the eye and I'm going to tell you, I want you to know something. You're absolutely right. This is a company and this is an opportunity where you could put yourself in a position where someday you could leave your full-time jobs and you could do this full-time together and build a business that you're proud of and build a business that generates you the income you're looking for and teaches you how to become financially independent. But there's some things you need to do in order to make that happen. So I want to lay them out right up front with you. Okay. And if you do what I'm sharing with you, it's impossible for you not to succeed here. The first thing you need to do is you need to be coachable. So I talked to him about being coachable. I talked to him about the fact that we have a proven system. Don't reinvent the wheel. Our system works for people that work the system. We've been in business for 30 years. This is not something that we're figuring out. This has been figured out a long time ago. You saw in our office that we have a track record of success. We've got over 6,000 people that earn between $50,000 and $100,000 a year. Over 2,200 people that earn between $100,000 a year and $1 million a year. I mean, this is the real deal. I show them the Financial Independence Council book. I find out what he does for a living. If he's a contractor, I show him contractors making a six-figure income. If he's an educator, I show him educators that are making a six-figure income. And I sell them, but you gotta follow the system. And I'm here to tell you, most people don't. Common sense says follow the system, right? But human nature is such that people want to do things their own way. And if you do it your own way and you invent your own system, you're gonna fall on your face and you're gonna fail. And you're not joining our business to fail, are you? So you gotta be coachable. Second thing you need to do is you need to have stickability. Building a business is a marathon. It's not a sprint. I want you to understand you're not going to make a lot of money up front. I didn't say you're not going to start making money soon, but you're not going to make a fortune up front. And the facts are we've grown up in an immediate gratification society. And we're used to getting results immediately. And we're used to starting a job this week and getting our first paycheck next week. This is a business. Have you ever been in business before? No, I've never been in business before. Well, business owners understand that they get paid tomorrow for what they do today. Again, I'm not telling you it's going to take a long time to start making money, but you're not going to get your first paycheck next week. You got to have some patience and you got to have stickability. And everything you touch isn't going to turn to gold. I'm not telling you to expect frustration and I'm not telling you to expect failure. But I want you to understand anything that's worthwhile requires paying a price. Anything worthwhile requires, some struggles. And there's going to be some times that you get discouraged. There's going to be some times that you're frustrated. And to be quite frank with you, there's going to be times where you're going to feel like quitting. And if you're the type of people that quit when the going gets tough, I don't even think we should do anything together. Are you that type of person? So I'm setting the stage for that right now because I know he's going to want to quit tomorrow. Or 3 days from now after a brother-in-law dumps on him. Or a friend dumps on him, right? So I'm not planting negative seeds in his head. I'm just having a one-on-one conversation and letting him know, if you're the type of person, if you're going to call me up 2 weeks from now and saying, I've been thinking, I don't know if this is for me because you're a little frustrated because everything's not going the way you want it to go, then I prefer we don't even do anything. Do I have to worry about that with you guys? So say that to people. You could say that, can't you? Third thing you need to do is you need to show up. And you get a commitment from them that they're going to show up to your weeknight meeting and your Saturday morning meeting. So you're going to tell that person, we have a business briefing and a training meeting every single Tuesday night. It's the only night of the week that is a constant. Some weeks you might go out on appointments on a Monday night. Some weeks you might go out on a Wednesday night. Some weeks you might go out on a Thursday night. But the one night that we're always together at our office is Tuesday evening. And I need to know that you're willing to make a commitment to show up on Tuesday evenings. There's no way I could teach you how to build a business unless you're there on Tuesday evenings. How many days a week do you show up at your full-time job? And the average person will tell you what? 5 days a week, right? And you'll ask them, well, if you cut that down to 1 day a week, what would happen at your job? And most people will tell you what? They'll get fired, right? I say, well, we're not asking you to show up 5 days a week. We're asking you to make a commitment to show up one night a week. Anything less than one is zero. So I need to know that you're willing to show up on Tuesday nights. I'm willing to show up, Jimmy. And I mean, if you don't feel like it, if you had a bad day at work, maybe if you're feeling a little under the weather, I just need to know that when I go to the office, you're going to be there and you'll know that I'm going to be there. And that's the night that we're building a business together. I don't want to have to call you every single Tuesday afternoon and say, you going to be there, Billy? I just need to know that you're going to be there. Can I count on you to make that commitment? Yes, you can count on me to make that commitment. And then I'll ask him a loaded question, a setup question. And the setup question is basically, tell me, do you work on Saturday mornings? And if he says no, then he was hung by the tongue, because I say, great. Because we have a business briefing and a training meeting every single Saturday morning for people that work the accelerated program. For people that we could move through our system at an accelerated pace. And we do it early in the morning, so you still have the entire day to yourself. So Saturday mornings gives us an opportunity again to get together and work together and really compress time frames and get your business going. Can you make a commitment to show up on Saturday mornings? And then I get a commitment to show up on Saturday mornings. Now, if he has a valid, really, really valid reason why he can't, will I buy that? Absolutely. I got no problem with it, because at least I got what? One night a week, right? But if it's some type of bogus commitment, like if it's something like, well, to tell you the truth, Jimmy, I get up at 5 o'clock every single day. My day starts early, and Saturday is the one day I get to sleep. I'm absolutely going to overcome that objection. I'm just going to tell him, Billy, I could understand that, but you've never tried to do anything great before. You've never tried to build a business before, right? And I want you to understand, becoming successful requires getting up a little bit earlier and going to bed a little bit later. You told me that you want to own your own business, that you want to be partners in business together someday, make a six-figure income. Well, is it worth to you sacrificing some sleep on a Saturday morning to get to your goals faster? There's no way I'm backing down because the guy wants to sleep, okay? But if he's got a valid reason, something really, really valid, I'll buy it, okay? You know what's valid and you know what's not valid. I mean, that's a really bad sign. I mean, when people are actually honest enough to tell you that's why they don't want to come on Saturday morning, to me, that's a big red flag. I'm probably going to have Jason train them, okay? Because, it's just like, okay, I know we're definitely lacking a little bit in the ambition department here. And the fourth thing is I'm going to get a commitment from him that he's going to allow me to train him. Because you have to train people. And most people will tell you, I've met a lot of people in Primerica. They got no problem getting people in, but they struggle getting them out across the kitchen table. The reason I always made money, I told you last night, it was not because I was what? It was not because I was good. That's the truth. It had nothing to do with me being good. I got them out across the kitchen table. If I brought somebody in the business, if they were semi-coachable, I got them out across the kitchen table. Am I going to tell you that I got everybody out across the kitchen table? Absolutely not. But if they were semi-coachable and they were sticking around a while, I got them out across the kitchen table. Because it was a priority to me. I knew I had to get them out across the kitchen table because I needed to show them the business works, not tell them the business works.
When did I become I was fired up after the opportunity meeting, but I told you it was all over after I saw it worked. After we sat down with my friend Dominic, and after we sat down with my friend John. When I saw Dominic had a cash value policy, John had 3 cash value policies, Terry and I went out, I saw how much of a ripoff they were. It was all over because now I saw everything this smooth talking guy told me in the opportunity meeting is true. You can't tell people this business works. You got to show people this business works. And you got to understand, most people are going to resist you in regards to field training because they're afraid. And one of the things they're afraid of is that you're going to try to sell their friend something, or you're going to try to sell their relative something, and you have to overcome that objection. You got to do whatever you got to do to overcome that objection. I mean, you might ask Billy a simple question such as, tell me something. Do you want me to tell you this business works, or do you want me to prove this to you that this business works? Now the guy's going to come back and say, I want you to prove to me the business works. Well, the only way I could prove to you is by field training you. Tell me, do you trust me? And I'll shut my mouth and wait for an answer. Yeah, I mean, we don't know each other well, Jim, but based upon our, time together and everything, yeah, I trust you. Well, would you give me an opportunity to prove to you that this works? Because if I can't prove it, you're going to quit anyway, aren't you? Okay, so I'm going to get him out across the kitchen. I'm going to get a commitment from him to give me 1 night a week. 1 night a week for field training. You're going to have a lot of people that tell you, I'll work every night, I'll work any night. I'm looking for 1. You want to work more than 1? That's fantastic. The more you work, the faster you're going to achieve your goals. But I'm looking for a minimum of 1 night a week that you'll commit to, where you and I are together, where I am teaching you this business. Fair enough? And he says what? Fair enough. So you got to get a commitment. So if you do these things, if you're coachable, if you have stickability, you're not a quitter, if you show up and you allow me to train you, you're absolutely going to hit these goals. There's nothing that could get in your way. Look at all the people that have done it before you. You do this, and you're going to succeed big time in our company. And then what I'll do is I'll take their IBA. I'll take their IBA. Most people are taking the IBA within 5 minutes of getting together with them, right? I take the IBA after I know I really have a real IBA. When I know I actually have somebody to work with. Because how long does it take to get the IBA? 10 minutes? Submit the IBA with the 199, and then we set a date for PFSU, and then I tell them I'm qualifying for the scholarship reimbursement. That's when I take the IBA. Now, if he came out of the opportunity meeting smoking hot, I felt great, I'll take the IBA then, still get together within 24 to 72 hours and do this other stuff. Make sense? This is very clear, isn't it? Just want to make sure. Now I'm going to do a brief recap of what we do. And I'm going to complete their F&A. Now, what do you mean a brief recap? Well, Billy came to the meeting, but his spouse didn't, did she? So I got to give her a flip chart presentation. But it only needs to be a 15-minute flip chart presentation. If they both came to the meeting, it could be a 5-minute flip chart presentation and 5 minutes showing them the generic F&A, and boom, now I'm gathering the data for their F&A. But I am going to do their F&A. Why am I going to do their F&A? It says it right here. This is the best way to understand what we do and build belief and confidence. The greatest recruit that you could ever have is a crusader. Someone who believes in what you do. How could somebody believe in what you do if you have not helped them? You have to help them. Do their F&A. Now, I told you earlier, if Kelly was negative, I would skip everything I did, and the first thing I would do is what, Al? Sell her on the company and what? Sell her on what we do, and then I'd do their F&A. I wouldn't do any of that other stuff because it doesn't matter. I got to prove we're a great company, we got a great service, and I got to show them what's in it for them. Remember, every time that you communicate with people, the following thoughts are going through their mind. Can I trust this person? Are they committed to what it is that they're doing, and what's in it for me? So you're being evaluated when you communicate with people. They don't consciously realize they're giving you this evaluation. But subconsciously, they're asking themselves, can I trust this guy? Are they committed to what it is that they're doing and what's in it for me? See, that's got to be on your mind. You're showing them what's in it for them. They're going to benefit. This makes sense? You have too many people that work with you that are not the master copy. You have too many people that work with you that don't own our services. Now listen, there's a gray area there because you cannot require somebody to own our products to do the business, right? But when somebody doesn't own what we do, with the exception of health reasons, that tells me they don't believe in what we do. Because I joined as a 23-year-old kid living at home with mom and dad, never heard of cash value insurance, never heard of term insurance, never heard of a mutual fund, knew nothing about money whatsoever, and I was a client within my first 2 weeks. I recruited Kathy Marchesani, 22 years old, living at home with her parents, working as a cashier in a ShopRite, and she was a client the first day. I made her a client at the one-on-one. I took her IBA, I made her a client, and filled out an order for supplies. The first day I got together with her, 22 years old. And guess what? Her business is still on the books. She still has our insurance. She still has our investments. That's not a surprise to you, is it? Okay? If somebody understands what we do, they're going to want to own what we own. And I've never shoved it down somebody's throat. It's just adults need our service. And anybody over the age of 18 is an adult. Even a young person needs to protect their insurability, right or wrong. A young person needs to save for their financial future. So you got to do their F&A. Well, Jimmy, there's nothing to do. They're young and single. There's nothing to put on the F&A. You know what? I agree with you. So do an FIP, a financial independence plan. Go into the, what the heck do you call that? The financial calculator on Call Atlanta and show them what $100 a month will compound to at 8, 10, and 12%. Or 6, 8, and 10%, whatever it is that you want to show. Show them what it'll compound to over the next 30, 40 years. Show them what $200 a month would compound to, $300 a month would compound to, and then verbally explain to them why they need to protect their insurability. Do an FIP instead of an F&A if they're young and single. Show them the benefit of district versus representative. Yep, draw some circles. Draw some circles on a piece of paper. Put Bill and Kelly's name in the circle. Show them when they get 3 directs, they move from a representative position to a senior representative position. Instead of working at a 25% contract, they'll be working at a 35% contract. Every time they go out there and do a $1,000 transaction, and show them where the $1,000 comes from. Let's say, Billy, you're sitting down with somebody who's spending $1,800 a year on a cash value life insurance policy. They got $200,000 of coverage, and for $1,000 a year, now you showed them how to have $800,000 of coverage, and you saved them $800 a year. That $1,000 represents the premium, and you would get paid 35% of the premium of $1,000. That's $350. If someone on your team does that, they'd make $250. Primerica would send you a check for $100. What happens if you write $1,000 transaction for the week, and all 3 of your guys write a $1,000 transaction for the week? You made $300 in overrides. You made $350 on your personal sale. That's $650 a week. That's what? $2,600 a month part-time. Is that exciting or what? That's it. And then I'm going to show them as a district leader, you make 50%. You know, if you had a rep direct to you, there's a 25% spread there. The rep makes $250, you make $2. And I do it until, how long do you do it, Jim? Until I see that he gets it. Sometimes he gets it after 4 minutes. Sometimes he gets it after 8 minutes. But the minute I see he gets it, I transition into developing his market. As soon as you can see that his wheels are turning, they say things like, you know, your brother would be really good at this. And, you know, just things slip out and you could see he gets it and he's excited about the recruiting and the overriding opportunity. You say, now what I want to do is help you develop a market of people that you can show your business to. I'm going to tell you that again because that's the terminology that I use. Most people's terminology is as follows. Now let's make a list, Billy. That's almost as bad as saying, now let's put some names down of your friends and family that I could sell. I never use the word list. Bob Safford says you must become an architect of words. Now let me help you develop a market of people that we can show your business to. So I'm going to ask you some questions. Names are going to pop into your head, and it's human nature to prejudge them, Billy. I don't want you to prejudge anybody. If a name pops into your head, I don't want you to get ready to tell me and then say to yourself, he would never be interested. He has a company car. He loves his job. He makes $150 a year. I don't want you to think that way. I didn't decide whether or not you'd be interested. I offered you the opportunity and let you decide, right? Aren't you happy that I let you decide? Guess what? You give everybody the opportunity to decide. There's a lot of people out there that you think love their jobs and don't love their jobs. And if you happen to be right and they do love their job and they don't get involved, so what? So what? They might lead you to someone who's exactly the type of person you're looking for. Because one of the things that you're going to find is you build successful businesses not through the people you know, but through the people that they know. So you show your business to everybody. If you had a restaurant, who would you let know about your restaurant? Everybody. If you had any type of business, you'd let everybody you know about it, right? Right. Well, you're opening up a business now. Everybody you know needs to know about it. They don't all need to join. They don't all need to become clients. But you know what? You're going to be surprised. Some are going to get involved that you never thought would get involved. Some who you thought would jump on it aren't going to jump on it. Some are going to want to take advantage of what it is that we do. Don't prejudge anybody, okay? Let's develop that market. Out of all the people you know, Billy, who are the 3 people that you would like to be in business with most? And I shut my mouth. And naturally, he's going to rattle off the 3 closest people to him in his life. Billy, if you broke down at 2 o'clock in the morning on 95, who would you call to come help you? And he's going to tell me who he's going to call to come help me. Then I'm going to go through his entire family tree. Do you have any brothers? Yeah, I got 2 brothers. Mark. Is Mark married? No. Don. Is Don married? Yeah, Don's married to who? Sue. Does Sue have any brothers? Yeah, Sue has 2 brothers. What's Sue's 2 brothers? And I got his brothers, the spouses brothers, the spouses' sisters, his sisters, the spouses, the husband's brothers, the husband's sisters. Okay? Are your parents still alive? Do your father have any brothers? Yeah. My Uncle Charlie and my Uncle Lou, great. Is Uncle Charlie got a wife? Yeah. Aunt Ann. And, does Uncle Charlie and Aunt Ann have any kids, which is his cousins? Next thing you know. I mean, it is so simple to develop a top 25 in no time flat if you do it the way I'm telling you. But you got to sell them on the promotion first. You got to see that they get it. And then you got to have a nice smooth segue, a nice smooth transition of now what I want to do is help you develop a market of people that you can show your business to. And then boom, you develop that top 10, top 25. Top 10 is the minimum I'm going to do, but I'd like to do a top 25 because you could do it in 5 or 10 minutes. But I'm going to develop it and I'm going to qualify it. I'm going to qualify it. I'm never going to and a lot of you know that I'm going to say this. I would never give Billy a blank top 25 sheet and tell him to bring it back on Saturday morning. That's just ridiculous. His market is precious. I need to know who he knows. Because I need to do a good job of getting people under. Remember last night I said, I look at it as whose responsibility to get his first 2? My response. Do I tell him? No. But I look at it as my responsibility to get his first 2 people into the business. I want to get how many? 3, but I'm focusing on 2. And as a matter of fact, you saw on the bullet points, it even says I'm going to emphasize the what? I'm going to emphasize the recognition that we give out as soon as he gets his first 2 people into the business. But I'm looking at it, Paul, as my responsibility to get his first 2 people, not his responsibility. I'm not going to tell him because I don't want a dependent person, but I'm focused on getting his first 2 people. Well, how can I do that if I don't develop the market? If I develop the market and qualify the market, I'm asking questions all along. I'm knowing who he's tight with, who he's not tight with. Am I making sense to you guys? So now we develop that market. And then after we develop that market, I help them set their first 3 to 5 appointments. Because most people won't do it. Have you ever worked with somebody that told you, I'll do it. They don't do it, right? Because most people's fears outweigh their goals. I told you I was scared to death, but my goals outweighed my fears, so I did it anyway. Well, most people's goals don't outweigh their fears because they don't know what they want out of life. The difference between successful and unsuccessful people is the way they think and what they want out of life. Most people don't know what they want out of life, so the bottom line is every little fear immobilizes them. But if I could get them over that hump and help them set those first 3 to 5 appointments, it's going to be great. So I say, why don't we give your brother Joe a call? And he's going to say what? Now? That's what he's going to say? Yeah, sure. Oh, I don't know. I don't think he's home right now and everything. It's your brother. Give him a buzz. It's no big deal. What night do you want to work next week? Well, Monday night. Great. Let's see if we can get together with him for Monday night. Oh, come on, Bill. Yeah, and you know what? Either he's going to win or I'm going to win, and I'm telling you, I'm going to win. It's part of the coach's job to help people overcome their fears. A coach needs to get people to do what they don't want to do now so they can have what they want to have later. And I've got to do it in a way where I'm not pushing him, in a way where I'm not pissing him off, but I got to get him on the phone. I got to get him over that hump. And guess what? If I get him on the phone and he doesn't have success, I'm still there to say, man, that was great. Let me tell you something, man. You really did fantastic. I mean, let's make this change. Let's make that change. But if he gets on the phone and I'm not there and he gets the crap beat out of him, I'll never see him again. Unless he's a unique individual. So I'm going to help him set his first 3 to 5 appointments. And then I'm going to teach him how to invite guests, and I'm going to challenge him. So I'm going to teach him and challenge him to invite guests to the next opportunity meeting. And because I developed the market, I'm going to tell him exactly who I want him to call. And those I'll let him do on his own, because they're all going to be 3-pointers or less. I'm not worried about him screwing it up. But I will inspect what I expect. Well, why don't you give these guys a call tomorrow after you get home from work? Say this, and this. And you know what? Give me a buzz. Let me know how you made out. And if he doesn't call me, I'll call him. And if he got beat up, I'll pick him back up. If he didn't do it, I'll challenge him again to do it, et cetera, et cetera. And then what am I going to do? I'm just going to communicate with my directs daily. I'm going to follow up. And I'm going to let them know in advance. I'm going to be speaking to you on a daily basis, and I want you to know that up front, because if I don't tell you, you're going to really think I'm a pain in the neck. I'm not going to be calling you daily to push you. I'm going to call you because the first 90 days you're really going through a learning curve. You're going to have a ton of questions. And so I want to be there for you, and I want to give you guidance. And it doesn't mean we're going to have half-hour conversations every time we talk, but I want you to know otherwise every time the phone rings and you see me on your caller ID, you're going to be, what's this guy all about? By the way, what's the latest I could call? Always find out what's the latest you could call, because that's a great way to ruin your relationship with the spouse. Calling late at night when she doesn't want you calling late at night. So find out the latest that you could call. Find out whether or not you could communicate with him at his job. Does he have the type of job where he could talk to you during the day? Now, am I going to do all of this the first time we get together? Most of the time not, but sometimes you will. When you have people that are really hot and they're action-oriented, they usually don't ask a million questions. They're like, let's go, man. Okay? But a lot of times you might not get all through. You might only get through the F&A stuff. And then what you do is, because you have common sense and you're great at reading people, you say, you know what, guys, I really feel like we've accomplished a lot tonight. There's a couple other things that I want to accomplish. I'd like to grab 30 or 45 minutes with you. Would it be possible to get together on Friday? And as long as I leave with the next time set to get together, I don't like leaving and saying, I'll see you at the office on Saturday. There's always got to be a next step. Then I'm okay. Just be on top of your game. Follow up. So these are the steps that you follow. And one of the things I really want to emphasize is be you. Don't be me. Don't be Jimmy Meyer. Be you. What's one of the best things about our business is it allows you to be you. Do not try to be me. Be you. Just sell out to being the best that you could be. And the other thing I want you to know is be flexible. Be flexible. Because what we do is we get in our minds, step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But you know what? you can't always, and I told you this twice already, you can't always do, I said it in a different way, step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. When I gave you the example, if the spouse is negative, you got to throw a bunch of those steps out the window and just win over the spouse on the company and what we do, and maybe until you have their F&A, you're not doing anything else. Use your common sense. Build relationships with people, and you'll start retaining more people. You'll start getting more people out across the kitchen table, and you'll start duplicating yourself. And at the end of the day, this is about duplicating yourself, building a business that works so someday you don't have to. Thanks a lot.